babes, welcome back. Nice to see you. Yes, you. I see you right there. Don't mind these like little scraggly ends. I can't really go to get my hair cut, so this is looking real rough, but just bear with me here. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about some thrifting tips and also tips for reselling once you're thrifting. So flipping items basically. I've been thrifting now for maybe like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and flipping, so reselling, for about a year, I would say. So let's go. All right, so tip number one is you really need to make time for thrifting, okay? By all means, if you only have like 20 or 30 minutes to spare, you can definitely still find things. But a lot of the times with thrifting, there's stuff located all throughout the store. You never know what you'll find. Like I said, it's kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So I would say if you plan on thrifting, finding items for yourself or even to resell, you need at least a good 4 hours, okay? And if you're planning on hitting up multiple thrift stores, you're gonna need 8 hours? I don't know, maybe more. Depends on how skilled you are and, you know, if you have a vision in your mind of what exactly you're looking for. A lot of the times too, you have to kind of sort through things, especially if you go to the bins or you go to some other kind of wholesale thrifting outlet, and it takes time. You'll find stuff, you know, all over the place. So time is one of the most important things that you'll need. Another huge tip is look through, like I mentioned before, look through all sections of the store. You really never know what you can find. Even if you go to the men's section, you can find oversized tops and polos that you can crop. You can make them into like little crop tops that you can tie. Go to the home goods section, you can find really cute mugs and plates and tumblers and cocktail glasses. It's another really cool place where I found stuff. The fabric and like the bag section, I go to the fabric section, I look for fabrics that appeal to me, and I've made like headscarves, bandanas, pillows, vests. Even the kids section has so much stuff. Even shoes, if you look at kids' shoes, if you're usually like a size 8, 9, you can fit in the highest end range of kids' shoes. So you can only imagine if you're like a size 5 or 6 in women's, I'm saying, you can find shoes for yourself in the kids section. So that's another place that you can definitely check that out. Make sure that you're wearing sandals, especially if you're looking for shoes. Wear sandals or easy to remove shoes, like slip-on shoes. If you want to go the extra mile, bring a pair of like lightweight or thin socks with you, or even normal socks that you would wear every day, because then you'll be able to gauge if the shoes that you're wearing will fit in normal every day. Also, because thrift store items come from every place, so we want to make sure that we're being clean and hygienic, so that's why I would say take a pair of socks with you as well. I would suggest wearing like the least amount of clothes possible, like wear like a tank top or like a light t-shirt and maybe shorts. So if you don't feel like going to the dressing room, you can just try something on over your clothes, which leads me to my next point. If you're going to something like the Goodwill bins, where basically every item they have, whether it's like t-shirts, tank tops, dresses, fabric, etc., where it's all dumped into one bin, you want to bring a pair of gloves and also like a big bag you can carry on your shoulder. They have shopping carts there, but in my experience with the bins, the aisles are super narrow, so it actually like takes up a lot of space if you have a cart. So that's why I usually will bring a bag with me that I can carry over my shoulder, or a backpack even that I can swing around if I find something I like. And a pair of gloves, because sometimes you're digging in there and you're digging in so deep and there's like liquid stuff, there's like sticky stuff. But yeah, just to be hygienic, you can bring gloves. You can even bring goggles if you'd like, to protect your eyes just in case, and bring a baggie with you. That way you're not lugging a cart around behind you. Another thing I found super helpful is if the thrift store that you're going to has an email list, sign up for that email list. That's gonna be really helpful, because then you'll be the first to know if there's any promos or sales going on. If your thrift store has a VIP member kind of account, I know Goodwill has this, you can just sign up with your phone number and you get 50% off a certain colored tag on a specific day of the week or a specific week. Make sure you're researching the stores that you can go to. I know most people know about like Goodwill, Salvation Army, but locally you may actually find a bunch more. Depending on what city you're in, check to see if there's other thrift stores, or you could even check garage sales to see if they have deals as well. A lot of garage sales, they'll have open like once every month. They'll have like a garage sale day, so you can check that out as well to see if that's something that's going on in your city. Another thing to research is the area of town you're in. Sometimes in like the nicer, ritzier areas of town, you can find thrift stores, you can still find them, but the items are gonna be super expensive because they know kind of the demographic that's shopping there, and they will usually have more so designer items. Another thing I found super helpful is pick a specific time and maybe day of the week that you go. I don't really like shopping when there's a lot of people around. I like to kind of zone in and have my own space. So it really helps me to pick a specific time and a specific day to go. I usually like to go on the weekdays when everybody's doing something else. I like to go either like early, like as soon as they open, or in the middle of the day. That way like everybody else is at work, so I can just have at it. I can have it to myself. So that's another thing. That way you're not really fighting with space with anybody. I find that super helpful, and that's why I like to go typically on weekdays, usually from anywhere like 9 to 2. And I also plan routes. So if I plan on going to more than one thrift store, I'll plan like an actual route of, you know, which way I'm gonna go. So I'll hit like this one first and then go slightly up, go to this one. So that's another thing. If you wanna be strategic about this, you can definitely plan your route as well, so that way you can get more done and be more time effective, I guess. Next tip, don't buy just anything, okay? Like just because you see something that's cheap, I get it. We try to go for bargains and deals, but think about, you know, yourself. Are you going to wear this? And if not, can you see somebody else wearing this? Especially if you're coming from that reseller's point of view, can you see somebody else wearing this? That's typically how I think about it. But if you're reselling, the cool thing is you can find something that you like, and even if it's not something that fits you or suits your style, you can always flip it. Just because you see certain prices on items doesn't mean you have to buy it. Just think about in the future what you're gonna wear it with, how you're gonna wear it, if you're even gonna wear it. Remember too, with discounts, you can also, if you're a military personnel, you're an emergency personnel, or you're a teacher, a lot of the times different thrift stores will have discounts based on that status. So if you're in any one of those categories, sometimes more, student discounts as well. If you're a student as well, they will also have those discounts. So that's definitely something to ask about. You never know. You can ask and see if they have them. A lot of the times they do. So that will give you an additional discount when you're thrifting. Now, this might be a given, but I have overlooked this so many times. Before you buy anything, make sure you're looking to see if there's any holes or rips or tears or stains on the piece of clothing, okay? That also is potentially something that can deter you from buying the item at the price point. If you notice something like that, like a tear or a rip or a stain, you can always go up to the store clerk and ask them if there's any additional discounts. I can't guarantee that they're going to say yes to you and be okay with you, getting a lower price, but it doesn't hurt to ask, because sometimes they will. And even if you ask and they say no, if you don't find that it's worth it, you can just put the item back or just not get it. Another thing I really like to do is find plain items. So plain white t-shirts, plain white hats. I recently found a plain white fanny pack, and I'll tell you why. because either you, whether you have a skill like you embroider or you paint or you stitch on things, or if you're going to resell, there's other people that like to do those same things, embroider or paint, etc. It's great to have plain items to either have for yourself or resell because people can upcycle them. So that's why I love to look in like the men's section for like white t-shirts or gray t-shirts, for, you know, bucket hats or plain baseball hats, because you can embroider on them or you can paint on them. And if you're going to be doing that as well and you plan on reselling, you can resell the item for so much more. Because something is hand embroidered or hand painted, you can actually flip it for more money than you would have otherwise. I like to get plain shirts as well, to crop them, to make them into like tie-dye shirts, to tie them up in the front or the back. Sometimes I even like to bedazzle things or add like glitter glue to them. So there's so much you can do when you get a plain piece of clothing, but just be aware of like the labor that's gonna go into it. But you can also factor in that labor to the cost of the item, because it is gonna be a unique piece. So that's something that people will definitely pay for. So while I'm in the thrift store, sometimes what I'll do is if I see something that catches my eye, what I'll do is I'll research on eBay or just on Google what that item is, the make, the model, etc. I don't know if there's a make and a model, but I'll research that stuff just to check to see if I have something valuable on my hands. And that really helps too in terms of my purchasing decisions, to figure out what I'm gonna buy and not gonna buy. Like I mentioned before as well, always check the thrift stores during different seasons. I have found some cool stuff in the seasons. For Halloween, I found actually this fanny pack, which is super cool. So I found this fanny pack. During Christmas time, I found this bucket hat, this fuzzy bucket hat, which I love. You can definitely go during different seasons and find all types of things. So don't be afraid to check in Christmas, Halloween, Thanksgiving, St. Patty's Day, New Year's, the list goes on and on. So always check in different seasons as well. Now, in terms of reselling, you want to take into account all your expenses. So, of course, the expense of the item comes into play. The gas money that you're going to be using will come into play as well, that you need to get to the thrift store and get back. You can also think of cost of packaging. All that comes into play. If you want more information in terms of that, I do have a video that I'll link, and I'll also put a card in the video so you can find that one, because that one goes a little bit more in depth in terms of selling and how to take pictures of your items, different methods, etc. Also, if you'd like, I do have a specific shipping video that I do for Depop, and I'll link that down below and also in the video. So that will give you a little bit more insight and information if you're looking to resell from thrifting. If you haven't already, I would love if you'd like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button. I know some of you have.